Imagine a past where the Britishers enslaved us, enforcing their laws over us and making our lives miserable. Such hard times, right? It would force anyone to bend to their knees and do what they can to protect themselves. But surprisingly, amidst the despair, kindness flourished in unexpected ways. Villages came together, families shared all that they had, and resistance was built on community support. Acts of kindness weren't just generous, they were survival mechanisms back then which preserved hope and humanity. Now, once again, imagine a dystopian future where a world where a global pandemic has left only those who had the resources to protect themselves. But now they face extinction. The wealthiest have isolated themselves along with their so precious resources, leaving all of the rest of the poor souls on their own, alone, to die. They face extinction because not of a lack of money, but because of their selfishness, which isolated them, and in their isolation, humanity withered. Both of the stories are so different, yet they share one thing in common, which is kindness, that makes all the differences in both the timelines. But today, I'll make sure that you view kindness not as an act of selflessness, but as an act of selfishness that ultimately benefits you. Now, let me share a personal story. Once, me and my friend were hovering around on our two wheelers, enjoying the profound freedom that we felt that day because it was finally the last day of our exams. We stopped at a local food store and were in awe of all the mouth-watering food being prepared there. Just as we started to order for some for ourselves, a boy came up to me and said, "भैया, भूख लगी है, थोड़े पैसे दे दो." He was around 10 or 11 years old with a hand on his stomach, showing just how desperate he was for some food. I was about to give him some money from my pocket, but the mature kid in me woke up, and instead I said, "I won't give you any money, but you can choose anything that you want to eat from here, and I'll buy you that." After all, our elders always say that it isn't appropriate to give money to strangers because who knows what they might do with it? Drugs, alcohols, or God knows what else. However, the kid denied my offer and instead said to me, "Buy me a packet of bread and milk and I'll eat it later." The next thing we knew, my friend and I were on our way to a dairy shop. We bought him some packets of bread and milk, and as we were purchasing them, we saw how his face lit up. Seeing that happiness, we decided to buy some little more, an extra packet of bread and a pack of chocolates, because why not? Every kid deserves a treat, right? We often, uh, he was so happy, and seeing the happiness on his face gave me a sense of comfort and fulfillment that I had never felt before. I wanted more of that feeling. It wasn't just about helping him, rather, it was about what helping others gave me in return. I won't say that acts of kindness or helping others is a selfless act. Rather, in fact, it is a selfish act because it makes us feel good, it gives us a purpose, and helps us view the world differently. We usually hesitate to act, overthinking whether or not our help might be enough, or worry about being taken advantage of. But the truth is, even the smallest act of kindness can create ripples far beyond what we imagine. This incident inspired me to help someone again and again and again. Now, you may think, why must we as an individual be kind to others or help others, and how would the efforts of an individual make a difference to others? Well, I would suggest you not to look for the benefit of others, but feel what's in it for you. Being kind helps you in various ways that you won't even imagine. When you help someone, it often comes back to you one way or another. Tomorrow, when you are in desperate need, the same person that you helped yesterday just might be your savior. Or he might help someone else, which would create a ripple eventually touching you. Looking at it scientifically, acts of kindness releases dopamine, which reduces your stress, elevates your mood, and eventually makes you feel better. Try and remember an incident wherein you helped someone who was in desperate need and how that incident made you feel. Happy, right? If I'm these small acts make us realize that being kind is mostly in our favor as it makes us feel better, fills us with contentment, and as I repeat, it eventually benefits you and you alone. Also, when we are kind to someone else or we help someone else, we contribute to building a society where trust and support thrive. Now, let's take a look back at the past during the British rule. People weren't kind because being kind wasn't just the right thing to do. People were kind because it helped them survive. It helped them keep their spirits alive and their identities intact. Now, think about the dystopian future once again. What if the people shared their resources? They just might have found a connection, a hope, and a reason to continue only if they had been kind. Now, what do we learn from these stories? Well, survival is not just about resources, it's about relationships, it's about humanity, it's about keeping the spirit of humanity alive, and at its core lies kindness. Now, there are various ways through which one can be kind or help others, but you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Similarly, first you have to be kind to yourself, only then can you help others. Kindness isn't overextending yourself, rather, you should be kind to limit where it does not harm you. Now, the question arises, how can one be kind? Well, start small. While going home today, smile at someone that you have never met, a stranger. Find a person who is in need of your help, and if you find someone, help them the best you can. I can't guarantee you, but I'm sure that these small acts will bring you immense personal joy. Now, practice this daily, but not just for the sake of others, but for the peace and ecstasy that it brings to you. There is a famous line from an anime called Ginatama that I would like to quote, and it goes like, if you've got time to fantasize about a beautiful ending, why not live beautifully until the end? My interpretation of this line is that you have got only one life, and why should it be filled with regrets? Rather, live along with others while growing together and making the most out of the one life that you have got. And eventually, my friends, you will have the most beautiful ending that you won't even expect. Now, for the last time, imagine a world where everyone is selfish. But I guess you won't need to imagine that because we do live in one. But today, I'm not talking about being selfish in a negative way, but rather making kindness our most selfish habit. Being kind is like planting a seed. The more you sow, the more you reap. I need you all to understand that being selfish does not mean only taking, it means giving with your whole heart, knowing that it will eventually come back to you in ways that you won't even expect. So, that's the kind of selfish I am, and that's the kind of selfish I want everyone around me to be. Thank you.